This is a Brian Cognito track.
What's the word? Look, check it out. I just want to let y'all know that I know y'all, like, I'm posting a lot of videos on Facebook. Right now I'm using Facebook. My Facebook is mainly used for the content that I push. I went to college for communications and also a minor in Afro-diasporic and Afro studies. So a lot of the content that you see is content that I create through being in hip hop and also, of course, studying our culture. But I also put my idea and my approach to it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the content you're going to see and product that you'll see is products from that idealistic standpoint. You're going to see hip hop and you're going to see an Afro-diasporic position that I take. And I'm giving a different little take. I'm not giving you the average stuff, even though the average stuff is good and we need that, but a lot of my stuff is coming from a pro standpoint of what we are doing and the people that I show. So when you see a film like Malik B, you're seeing that because I actually was around Malik B, and me and him talked on different things, and he come from an Islamic standpoint. He grew up in that. So you're seeing the short film is coming from that perspective as well as the hip-hop perspective. I don't know all the other people that did stuff with Malik. I know them, but I wasn't around them, and me and Malik wasn't around them. So a lot of stuff you're seeing, not that he wasn't, he probably was doing his thing, but a lot of stuff that you see coming from that aspect. When you see me do stuff on hip-hop and I'm dropping knowledge on certain lessons, or you see art, you know, a lot of that's where I'm coming from. So understand that, and check out this next program I got, and my ideas on hip-hop. So check this next piece I got coming. I hope you dig it. And also remember, share and like, subscribe on my YouTube. It's Hawk Films. Whatever I put out, please hit like, please subscribe. Y'all know how I go. You know what I'm saying? It's a very independent approach that I'm taking, as well as pushing the films is very independent. This is how things go. So I'm looking for distribution for my products, and some of them got streaming distribution, but this is not where somebody else is putting it out. So you gotta understand that. It's very key on the way I approach my things. And if you do want to get with me and do it, we gotta make sure things are right. Peace. Subscribe to Hawk Films. Hit like. Leave comments. That is very important when we're trying to do this. Y'all know the deal. Hot blast. You know what I mean? See y'all in the hip hop world. See y'all in the Afro-diasporic, Africana world. And we keep it moving. Peace. It's two types of hip hop that I thought was brewing. You know what I mean? And I called it, you had the physical knowledge and you had the vocal knowledge. And I broke it down like this because at a time you had a lot of down south, I like to say down south Midwest, and certain West Coast MCs and hip hop cats were doing their own thing on the independent level. And then you had on the East Coast or up north in New York or even in Philly, you had rappers that were speaking their knowledge and dropping their knowledge on you. You had Public Enemy dropping certain type of knowledge. You had Tribe Called Quest gave a certain aesthetics and knowledge to their joint. And on the West Coast and down south, one of the biggest cats that you seen was doing the independent was Master P. On the West Coast, you had JT the Bigger Figure, was very independent, along, of course, with another underground group, which is Hieroglyphics, where they were like the Tribe Called Quest of the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? They were the biggest group that was doing it independently on a more, they was doing both. They was dropping knowledge and doing the independent, physical independent thing. And that's how I used to like to break up those two. So back in the day, when I started seeing like down south cats brewing, and I started seeing all these underground joints, I got a magazine by the name of Murder Dog. Now, Murder Dog, a lot of y'all might know Murder Dog magazine, and y'all might seen it. Y'all may have seen it when it was like a magazine, when it was like, you know, the size of the Source. But Murder Dog was a magazine that was a tall, big, fat magazine, and the spine was like stitched, and the paper was different, the articles were different, the words were spread across the articles, and the articles looked like they was all over the place, like the paragraphs were situated all over. But the one thing I noticed about that magazine was what I just described, and also the way the layout was. Well, also I should say is they would have these big letters, and the advertisement was bold and live, and you would hear all these different rappers that I never heard before. You know what I mean? Dayton Family, Lil Half Dead. I seen this thing called the Industry Game. You had Master P with these big sprawl out wild advertisements, and people before that you had Tommy Wright and all these different Memphis rappers, and UGK, all these underground joints, and you see all these big advertisements, and you had Slip and Slide Records had big ads. The guy Ted Fields, I think his name is. You had him. He was a CEO like Jay Prince was with. Okay, my bad. It's not Ted Fields of Slip and Slide Records. It's Ted Lucas. Ted Lucas. I don't know why I got that messed up. I know that was Ted Lucas. I don't know why Fields came in my head. All right, back to the program. With Rap-A-Lot Records, and you seen these big sprawling ads, and to me, a lot. But the rappers, I'm talking about the rappers like JT the Bigger Figure, who actually I think he helped Master P do his independent, and Master P took it to the next level. But they were what I call physical knowledge. Why do I say physical?
This is a Brown Cognito track.
Wanna celebrate, I can, cause George Floyd died. But celebrate my youngins for the uprise. Oh, you hate my black culture? Oh, you going that route? Irish Spring, you talking shit? You need to go and wash your mouth out. I'm a grown man, family. This is it's 2020. We still dealing with the same situation, injustice, you know what I'm saying? We dealing with the same thing. So we got a lot of work to do. Whether you rapping or if you a person economic power, we need all that. We need everything. Don't talk about what you ain't gonna do. Just do it. You know what I mean? You ain't gotta talk about none of that stuff. Just do it. Because we're dealing with a lot right now. You know what I'm saying? So black intellects, Breonna Taylor, come down here. George Floyd, you know what I'm saying? Walter Jr. Wallace, all these people that's getting killed over injustice, we still dealing with it. This stuff ain't stopping, so you gotta do something to make a difference. You can't just be yapping about you shouldn't do this. People gonna do what they gonna do, you know what I mean? If they being pro-black, if they being economically empowered, if they wanna vote, not vote, just do something that's gonna make some type of impact, you know what I'm saying? We out here, hot blast, black intellects. Just wanted to share, I'm in West Philly where I grew up, not so much 52nd Street, 42nd Street, but, it's a different time now. We dealing with some major stuff, you know what I mean? So make some type of change. Don't just be one of them boys, this person shouldn't do this and they shouldn't do that. Nobody want to hear all that. Like, what you going to do? You know what I mean? If you going to tell somebody what not to do, then you better have a solution of doing it and not just saying it. Don't go on YouTube and look at something you learn. Go and get out there and really try to make some change. You know what I mean? If you're a rapper, rap about it. If you're a producer, produce something. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we dealing with. I'm out.
This is a Brian Cognito track.
Because up north, a lot of people remember was like the conscious era. You had, like I said, you had Public Enemy. You had Tribe Called Quest. You had groups like Poor Racist Teachers. You had KRS-One, all those type groups. And they were dropping knowledge. They was telling cats about food. KRS-One, they were telling people how to interact with social issues. Tribe Called Quest, My Buddy, all these type of clever intellectual lyrical rhymes that was dropping knowledge on you about blackness and about social justice and social interaction and all these type of things. Common Sense was another one, which is common now. Dropping knowledge on all kinds of different aspects of blackness and black life in urban ghettos, and telling you what we need to do to be a powerful black unity. And that's good, because you need to hear that. But the difference with them was they was doing that, but they was under an umbrella that told them when to put out records and when not to. Where you had JT the Bigger Figure had a record deal and then said, forget this, I'm not doing that no more. And they wasn't scared to go, I'm out of here. And JT the Bigger Figure, one rapper, he seen the power of his music. And then he decided to go more independent. Well, we're going to go order the CDs and press it up ourselves and we know all that as a model now. But I call that physical knowledge. That's the physical. They went out and hustled and sold, and they didn't do the Harlem Renaissance. I call it the Harlem Renaissance. They didn't let some person or I'm going to say like some European person say, hey, you're great and I'm going to put money into you. That's what a lot of the up north rappers did. But I can't completely say that, because then you had Schoolie D was doing definitely physical knowledge and dropping knowledge, because he had his Black Enough album and my Black Enough album. But then again, he was also doing the physical knowledge, pressing up his own records, getting his own distribution, setting the pace for what it has to be. Now, you need both, of course. But one thing about physical hip-hop knowledge that people can come at, I know back in the day, people were coming at down south, oh, they don't sound like the East Coast. They don't sound like this. But one, they're using their hip-hop nation language. And when you come from a continent, when you're from a continent like Africa, and you have different countries in Africa, you got Burkina Faso, you got Nigeria, Liberia, you have all these different Sierra Leone. You got all these different countries, right? You have Zanzibar. People speaking Swahili. People speaking Igbo. People speaking different languages. You're gonna speak in your language in which your nation is from. Nation language. So Spady, James G. Spady adopted the word hip-hop nation language. Now, when we bring it back to America and black people in America, you have people up north that tend to take on the northern perfect English way of talking, and they put that into their rap. So they're dropping knowledge how they drop knowledge in their perfect English rap. You got KRS-One, you got Tribe Called Quest, and you got Public Enemy, and they're speaking, in their language that they know, that they learn to get more perfected on their English. But then you had the down south that went, okay, forget trying to sound like, they went to a period, they went, all right, we're not going to sound like up north, because we don't sound like that. We're going to start being ourselves. UGK, Master P, they start using their hip-hop nation language, which is they're from the nation of down south, south areas, South Carolina, North Carolina, Louisiana, New Orleans. Some cats use their nation language, which they from the Bay Area, hieroglyphics, speaking the way they speak, even though they had a perfect English, but you can hear they slang in their nation language from where they're from. That's their hip hop nation language. So they're using their hip hop nation language. And the down south guys and Midwest guys that decided, like JT the Bigger Figure and hieroglyphics, that decided to do the things on their own instead of waiting for the corporate to say, hey, you can't put this album out until this, and we want you to talk about your knowledge, but talk about it in this way. No, they didn't do that. They started talking about what they wanted to talk about. Coming back to Schoolie D. Schoolie D did the same thing. He talked about what he wanted to talk about. No industry is carrying it.
You getting that money? He like, fuck that. That's why I get my money. Even with this whole bullshit, you think I'd be able to rap if I wasn't a little comfortable? I wouldn't be able to rap.
Damn. I needed you on that council there. Shit.
Everything I'm dealing with is psychological. It makes me feel like I was in another place. Everything I'm dealing with is psychological.
Because this is what sold the CD. This is what got it. So they're like, oh, yo, we seen that in the magazine. Psychological, the short documentary with Malik B from The Roots, filmed by Hawk Blast, a.k.a. Hakeem Woods. Check it out.
Spits water than Montrose, I'm on post. I spit that fatal dose. The big two clocked out when I pop off. Murder is the sport that is knocked off. But still you see the tiger in me. I'm fire friendly. Why you hate to supply it?
So when you got physical knowledge, you're able to know I could put out my own product. I can control my own shipments. I control my own voice. I control my own promotion. I control my audience, because you have to know promotion, marketing. You have to know tangible goods, which are the CDs at that time. You have to know all these intricate things and all these tools to make the machine that you created through your physical knowledge that you're putting together to make this thing run. Versus up north, they just dropping knowledge. So it's a difference. You're dropping knowledge, and both are dropping knowledge, but you're dropping knowledge just on vocals, and that's it. And whenever the record label says, hey, we're going to put this out, boom. So we tend to gravitate to the, oh, no, what happened to groups like Public Enemy? What happened to that? They're still popping, and it's still important. But understand, you cannot have this independent what we have today without the groups like JT the Bigger Figure, without Mac Dre, without hieroglyphics. They're an underground hip hop group that they were so independent. They were doing internet sales way before it got popular. They was doing the internet thing way before it is the way it is now. Master P decided to sell his stuff. Not only did he sell his stuff out of the trunk of a car, he also sold it in his store. He understood distribution and mass distribution. And he was able to go, hey, listen, you can give me all my percentage and I'm going to give you a piece of the pie, versus what the guys up north tended to just wait for their per diems, wait for their advances, wait for all their money, and then they was getting 80%, the record labels, and they're getting 2%, 3%, 5%, 6%, whatever the percentage was. Where these guys were saying, hey, we're speaking in our nation language, in our down south nation language, and we control it on the physical end. That's physical hip-hop knowledge. You may not have liked their nation language, how they were speaking on their rhymes, but they were doing physical knowledge. And to me, in order to improve our situation in our society today, we're always improving from the time we got over here in slavery, and I know we was here too before slavery, but I'm talking about We got in a systematic racial, discriminated, systematic, situation where they controlled us. But we broke out of that and we became more do for self. Elijah Muhammad and what's his name? William Monroe Trotter. They became more physical knowledge, putting out their own newspapers, putting out their own books, putting out their own stuff. So in the South, it's known that we was doing that. You had a lot of people that fled, went up north and got jobs. But then you had those people in down south that stayed and made stuff, made the wheels turn. Elijah Muhammad was one of them. He moved his stuff, his paper. He moved his speech. He moved his knowledge and all of the stuff he did, getting the farm. He moved that through talking with the jazz guys and they dropping knowledge on them and saying, hey, we got to do this ourselves. Physical knowledge. That trickles. A lot of down south guys understood that. And I'm not saying they went directly and learned from Elijah Muhammad, but that's where the seeds like him and people that was before them did things. People like Monroe Trotter had his own paper, physical knowledge, and they dropped knowledge. That's needed when you win hip hop. Now you have a lot of these independent people doing their thing. But also, we still have a lot of people doing 360 deals. They'll get with these digital companies and they'll put out a single on them and then they'll blow up and you'll think they doing it. But I'm going to tell you, when you become independent, and I mean independent across the board, because Master P is still independent. Hieroglyphics, if you never heard them, you need to find out about them. Hieroglyphic Crew. You're going to see them. See, I got them up. They are physical knowledge because they put out their content and they're both. They drop in knowledge and physical knowledge. They got merchandise, but they had merchandise way before a lot of these people decided. They don't just have t-shirts. They got jeans, shirts, sneakers, all kinds of skateboard equipment. They even got their own place where before the COVID-19, they had their own warehouse. They had their own warehouse where they were also putting on their own shows in front of their warehouses. They got their own stages. They do their own thing. JT the Bigger Figure, now he's doing his own movies and his own real estate in Africa, doing major things, putting out his own music, doing physical knowledge. Now, a lot of people is doing their own thing. I'm not saying that. They finally kind of start to get it. But these guys was so ahead of the curve at that time, their physical knowledge is still brewing. Master P has cereal and potato chips and pancakes and boxes because he's doing physical knowledge. And that's what you want to do. You want to have a physical knowledge in hip hop. And that's what physical knowledge is. What does physical knowledge look like today in these times? See, I'm on YouTube, so I'm being independent. A lot of us on YouTube with our podcasts and we're dropping our videos and stuff like that. But how about we have a data center? I'm not in a position to create a digital data center, but maybe you are. That's part of being physical knowledge. That way you can have your own entity. We won't maybe have to be on YouTube. Right now, we're all doing an independent thing, but know where it comes from. That physical knowledge is so important. So, what am I saying here? You have physical knowledge and you have the written knowledge. But the physical knowledge is so much more important to me because you get to see it. And then if you have the written knowledge along with the physical knowledge, you now have a cohesive a company or a corporate system that allows you to operate in a manner that will carry you through life and generations next to come. So let's get off of condemning our down south people. Let's get off of this idea of mumble rap. Let's get away from that, because it's not mumble rap, it's nation language. Hip-hop nation language. It's how we move. It's no different than when RZA was talking, yo, I put you in these with these pointy ass rings. Or LL saying, you know what I'm saying? I mean, people thought they was talking mumble at one point. What are they talking about? I remember my pop and different people hated to hear rappers speak. You know what I mean? So we're not going to condemn them, because one thing about the South and the Midwest and the West Coast, the people that came out of there, the Hieroglyphics crew, my models, JT the Bigger Figure, my model, they had physical knowledge. Hyro had physical and both written knowledge, because they were dropping knowledge. But all of them were dropping knowledge. That's what we need to keep the ball rolling till this day. So understand the difference and why it's important to really key in on your physical knowledge. That's my I don't even want to say that's a lesson, but that's what I used to analyze, and that's how I see hip hop. And the more physical knowledge you have, the written knowledge is going to come. Peace, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Hot blast. Don't forget, we still got our shirts. Hip Hop Minds, see what I'm saying? Also, you know we got the Black Intellects. Peace. So, yo, you know what I mean? That was trippy, you know what I mean? Yesterday, I realized I had a certain amount of power, so now I got to call on the power gods. And I gotta wear gear, you know what I mean? You gotta, when you on your superpower joint, I gotta rock some gear. So I gotta see what they want me to do. So I'm gonna call on the power gods and see what type of joint. So this is what the power gods want me to wear. They said I was already rocking it. They just wanted to give me the power to go along with it. I thought they was going to give me some armor suit. But this is what I'm going to be rocking. So when y'all see me in the streets, I'm here to save black lives. And let's get it in. You know what I mean? So I'm alright. I already had it. I just had to realize my powers that I actually had. Cool. Y'all see what the power god said. Peace. Hold up, that's hot blast. I don't never linger. Point the finger at a genius, then the great position. Yeah. I don't like you like black people, don't like Frank Rizzo. Damn, that's trivia. If you from Philly, silly, why you think I'm so in tune with the culture I'm living? I don't care what you say, this how I was driven. I be teaching. This ain't no secret, people.